Hello and welcome to the Southern Hockey Network. My name is Gavin Coker and I'm joined by Noah Gabryluk, and we have an exciting matchup as we get ready to close out the fall semester with the Florida Southern Moccasins taking on the St. Leo University Lions. And Noah, we saw the game yesterday. What are you looking for in this game today?
I'm just looking for the Mocs to take care of business today and then use that extra time to work on some other stuff. If they can get a good lead and hold it, then they can use that time to bring some other players out who maybe haven't played as much during this season and just work on some things, tighten things up. Because yesterday obviously it was a dominant win, but I think there were a lot of things they could have cleaned up in yesterday's game. I mean, St. Leo had a couple of goals off of turnovers from Florida Southern, so just tightening those things up and having a really nice game.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, getting some of the new faces. We saw some of them later in the game yesterday, late second and early third period. As we get underway here, Mocs win the opening face-off, and they'll dump it in down into the corner on the forecheck there. Mocs battling for the puck. St. Leo clears it to the neutral zone, but thrown back in. St. Leo now with the puck. They move it up into the Mocs zone, but quickly turned over. Mocs try to clear it. Huddle on the boards by Powers. Turned over, and now Greg Peterlin taking a big hit there. St. Leo pushing with some pressure. A quick shot. Chris makes a save, and that one goes up into the netting.
Yeah, Peterlin had bodies moving forward to move that puck up, but instead he tried to make a move around Sebastian Powers, and he makes a nice play, getting some contact, and ends up with a really nice opportunity.
Yeah, and we saw some of that physical play yesterday and looking for more of that today as these two teams match up for the second time. As that puck's in the neutral zone, St. Leo tried to fire it in, but blown down offsides as Gillum fired that one into Luke King, so blowing that one down. And something to note, Will Marshall is out on the ice, but he's wearing number 71. Had a little tape job on his jersey there.
Yeah, and it looks like he's wearing number 71 because the Mocs already do have a number 11. That's Preston Miller. So a little bit of tape never hurt anybody. And, yeah, Will is wearing number 71 today.
And Mocs with some forecheck pressure. Good job by St. Leo to get that one out wide, and a big hit there by Izzo on Cambria. Luke King trying to move it up. He'll dump it around the boards. Cribbs comes out, tried to slow it down. Izzo flips it up the boards to Wyden. Wyden maintaining possession. Passes it up to Marshall. Marshall skates in. Shoots. Puck's still loose. Out in front in a battle and a save. Puck looked like it got a little lost there, but ultimately St. Leo's goalie able to come up with that one.
Yeah, it looked like Marshall was trying to stuff that under the pad of Dunlop, and yeah, he was able to keep that one out. And I wanted to go back to that breakout. Izzo just chipping it off the boards and Wyden using his body to shield away the defender, and that led to that rush where Marshall ultimately almost got that one in.
As Oken comes in for this faceoff, he wins it back to Burkhart. Burkhart with a shot, goes off of a Lion, almost came out to Vecchione. Clears the zone. Sutton tried to keep it in, but it comes out. Mocs had to touch up. St. Leo gets it into the neutral zone. Sutton dumped it back in. St. Leo recovers. They're trying to move it up. Powers with it. He chips it up. And a good job there by Oken, angling him off the puck and allowing Sutton to play that one as the Mocs turn it up the other way. Sutton, quick shot. That one goes wide. Shot by Cabral. That one goes around the boards and comes out of the St. Leo zone. Burkhart back for it. He's pressured by Green. He'll slow it down, set up behind the net. Allow the play to develop. Burkhart sends it up to Oken, who just taps it into the neutral zone. Burkhart a check there on Powers. Sutton sends it around the boards to Marshall, who chips it up. It goes out to neutral zone. Wyden chasing down Green in the St. Leo zone. He comes away with it. Pass out in front to Izzo. Backhand. Good job by Dunlop. Hugging the post there and negating that chance. St. Leo's setting up and trying to set up in the mock zone. Big hit by Izzo on the boards. Comes out for St. Leo. A shot saved by Cribbs. Still some danger. Mock's able to get it up, and now Marshall has it. Marshall and Wyden, 2-on-1 if they hurry. Wyden with the puck. Passes it to Marshall. And that one just gets blocked by a St. Leo defender. Marshall with it tries to set up for Wyden in front. Mock still with the puck in the St. Leo zone. Marshall looking for a pass. Quick shot. Dunlop gets in the way of that one and makes a good save. Marshall back for the puck. He'll skate it through the neutral zone. Bounces it off of Pescatore, who had a goal in yesterday's game. And he'll try to skate it up with some speed. And he catches Izzo, and Izzo gets a stick in the skates there, so a delayed penalty. And the Mocs will touch up, and we'll get a whistle.
Yeah, I think that penalty was actually a couple of seconds earlier. Marshall on the forecheck was chasing the St. Leo player and I guess caught him in the hands with his stick, so he'll go for slashing.
Yeah, so St. Leo gets the first power play of the game, a chance to take the lead in this one. And if you're St. Leo, this is what you're looking for. They trailed the Mocs for the entire game yesterday, so a chance to get a lead early in this one and potentially some early momentum for them.
Yeah, and the Mocs are a very skilled team. If you're St. Leo and you can get an early lead on this team, then you just got to hold on and hope for the best.
Yeah, and it's a big loss with Marshall in the box. He is a big part of this Mocs penalty kill as St. Leo keeps it in the zone. Pescatore with it, he fires. That one goes off of a Mock and goes out wide. Sent around the boards. Power has it at the blue line. He's patrolling, looking for a pass. He gets one to Gillum, the captain. Gillum fires a shot, looking for a redirect with Salvadori. Pescatore, quick shot. Cribbs gets a pad on that one, sends it out wide. Still some pressure. Pescatore patrolling the blue line. He skates it in, back behind Cribbs. Still with the puck. He's at the blue line. He fires, and Cribbs swallows that one up.
Yeah, a lot of traffic in front there, but no one blocking the vision of Jason Cribbs, and he's able to track that puck easily and make the save.
And that's a good job by the Mocs, keeping the sight lanes open, allowing him to make that good save.
Yeah, and a lot of this power play, St. Leo, just a lot of movement on the outside, nothing really being made to the inside of the ice, and that's accredited to the Mocs defense on this penalty kill.
As St. Leo comes away with possession in the Mock zone, but Izzo able to get a turnover, and he'll flip that one down the ice as Dunlap plays that one. He left it for Gillum. Gillum set it up. And some forechecking by the Mocs. It's Tommy Cabral as Gillum had to slow it back down. And now Luke King trying to move it up. Good passing by St. Leo as Pescatore gets in the zone, but whistled down for offsides.
Yeah, St. Leo had numbers there on that rush. Mocs catching a break with that offsides call.
And 23 seconds left to go on the penalty as the Mocs do a good job. And now St. Leo has to set up in the neutral zone and find a way to get this puck into the Mock zone.
Yeah, they've got about one more rush with the time they have left on this power play.
And something they have to watch out for is Marshall coming out of the box. We've seen it multiple times. The Mocs like to try to spring him after a penalty, and he normally gets a one-on-one opportunity with the goalie.
Yeah, and as the defenseman, you just got to keep your head on a swivel. You know, you got to keep in mind how much time is left on the penalty and just who's coming out of the box, and especially if it's Will Marshall.
And Marshall will step out of the box as the Mocs effectively kill that one. A late chance. Gillum shoots. That one went wide of the net, just above the glove hand of Jason Cribbs. And now the Mocs going the other way. Wyden tried to make a move and got angled off the puck. Good job there by the defense. Pecorella trying to make a move. He was 4-on-1 there as St. Leo was changing. And now Green on the forecheck. Mocs come away with it, and we're going to get a whistle. Looks like a penalty on the Mocs. On the back end of the play, Burkhart looks like he's headed to the box. That's going to be 2 minutes for cross-checking.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're John Burkhart. You got to keep your stick down. You know, you get the hand separated on your stick when you're pushing on the forward. Yeah, that's cross-checking. You got to keep your hands together when you're pushing the forward off of the puck, or at least making an attempt to. 'Cause he's gotten a few cross-checking penalties this season already, so it's something to look out for, and it's something that he needs to keep an eye on.
And the Mocs do a good job early in that one, flips that one out of the zone, and we get a whistle.
Yeah, it was a hand pass, so Mocs will get a face-off in the St. Leo zone.
And Marshall out on the ice. So he'll take this face-off. He has Oaken, Catazone, and Greg Peterlin out there. St. Leo wins that face-off. Sends it back around the boards to Pescatore. He flips it up. Oaken makes a play with his stick, knocks it down. But Powers tried to move it up. Good job there by Greg Peterlin, getting a stick there. And now King with a shot. Cribbs makes a save. And Marshall taking it up the other way. Has Oaken on the backside. He cuts on the brakes. Battling along the boards. He comes out with it. Marshall slows it down. Backhand pass there to Oaken. And Catazone's just going to skate it back as the Mocs kill some time off of this penalty.
Yeah, really smart play there by Catazone. That's going to kill about 20 seconds.
Forechecking by St. Leo. Marshall back in his own zone, able to maintain possession of the puck with a minute left to go on the power play, and we're going to get a whistle. Looks like the puck went up into the netting. It's a face-off to the right of Jason Cribbs.
Yeah, we do apologize. Our vantage point, we can't really fully see into the corner, but we're doing our best to let you know what's going on.
As St. Leo wins that faceoff, Gillum kicks it across. Quick shot, Pescatore. That was blocked by Sutton. Did a good job getting in the lane and sending it down the other way. Dunlap comes out to play it. Fanned on it for a second, but St. Leo able to come away with possession as Pescatore sends it around to Gillum behind the board. Now Williams sends the puck out. Green was pressuring him, and now Pescatore. He'll skate it up along the left side of the neutral zone. He gets into the zone and whistled down for offsides. So this faceoff will come outside of the mock zone. 22 seconds left to go on the penalty. Stepping into the faceoff dot will be Powers for St. Leo and Izzo for the Mocs. St. Leo comes out on top with that one. And they'll ring it around the boards. Cribbs slows it down for Mullins. Mullins skating it up. And not able to get it out as Salvadori does a good job closing in on the boards, and a big hit there by Mullins, knocking Salvadori off the puck. St. Leo still with it in the zone. Sutton, a big hit. And the Mocs will get the clear, and the penalty will be over. So back to 5-on-5. So Wyden played that one back for Izzo. Green on the forecheck. Izzo skating it up through the Mock zone. He'll kick it up to Wyden, just out of reach. But Wyden's going to get there to negate icing. He tried to kick it back in front. No one was there. Marshall gets a stick on the skate as St. Leo was trying to get it out. Marshall, a shot, went wide. Keeps it in, gets it back to Izzo. Izzo has Wyden in the slot. A shot and a good save by Dunlap. Sends that one up into the netting.
Yeah, Marshall drew 3 St. Leo Lions to him, and he just dished it down to Michael Izzo, and he had a 2-on-1 with Wyden, and the defender took away that pass. So I think that was the right choice, taking that shot. But I think Dunlop got a piece of that, so really nice save from him.
Yeah, so face off to the right of the St. Leo goal. Mocs win that one. Luke Walter with it. St. Leo trying to clear it out of the zone as Luke King can't. Still in the zone and finally gets out. A desperation play by Luke King. And now Ethan Dubois with a shot, and Dunlap makes the save.
Yeah, really like Ethan Dubois moving his feet on the rush into the zone, but I think you got to have bodies going to the net. You know, there were 3 forwards with them, and they just got to cut to the net, and yeah, that was an easy save for Jonah Dunlop.
TJ Tillman in the face-off dot. St. Leo wins that one. Luke Walter comes away with the puck. Turned over as Pescatore was pressuring him, and now Howitt skating it up. 3-on-1. Good job by the Mocs, negating that opportunity as they'll flip it down. Mocs keep it in the zone. Preston Miller a shot, and a glove save by Jonah Dunlop.
Yeah, the Mocs starting to apply some more pressure now. You know, eventually one of these is going to go in, but right now they're only credited with 3 shots on goal.
So St. Leo wins that one. The Mocs able to keep it in their zone. That was Max Oken playing it with a stick. Now a battle on the boards. St. Leo comes away with that. Comes out to the point. Greg Peterlin does a good job keeping it in the zone. A quick shot, and Dunlap with the save.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to go short side there. Dunlap with the glove.
And Dunlap's done a good job early in this game. And that's a credit to St. Leo doing a good job also keeping the Mocs from going east to west. And that was a problem yesterday.
Yeah, and so far in this game, the Mocs really haven't had too many high danger chances from the middle of the ice. A lot of the shots have been from outside. So those are easy saves for Dunlap.
And a good forecheck play there by Greg Peterlin. And a shot by Burkhart. That one's blocked. Sent around the boards. Devin Nudie came away with it for a second. He was pressured by Wyden. St. Leo still trying to get the clear. Greg Peterlin keeping it in the zone. He'll fire a shot, and a save by Dunlap.
Yeah, Dunlap doing a little windmill save as Peterlin skates by him.
Yeah, not quite sure that's maybe a stretching motion, or maybe you just wanted to flaunt that you made that glove save a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely throwing up the windmill. But we like to see. We like to have fun around here.
Face-off won by the Mocs. Marshall, sharp-angled shot, and looks like it caught the shoulder of Dunlap and went up into the netting.
Yeah, Marshall just trying a little something there. I don't know. It looked like he had 2 of his teammates cutting to the net. Like to see maybe try and dish that off across the crease, but yeah, nonetheless, they'll get an offensive zone draw.
Mocs do come out with it momentarily. St. Leo battling for possession. Marshall comes out with it. He finds Izzo in front. Izzo was shot. Looks like it went off of Gillum's stick. And now Ethan Dubois with the puck. Now Colton Wyden skating in. Marshall a shot, and that one goes off a Lion. Ethan Dubois keeps that one in the zone. Izzo plays it down to Wyden, back in front, and Izzo scores. Little tic-tac-toe there. Izzo to Wyden, back to Izzo for the goal.
Yeah, that was really nice. Wyden making a move to the outside and driving that defender around the net, and he just lays it out in front. And Izzo cutting to the net, gaining inside position, and he's able to connect on that one-timer and gets that through the 5-hole of Dunlap. And the Mocs, some sustained pressure in the offensive zone, and finally that one ends up in a goal.
Yeah, and it was a very bend, don't break kind of moment there for the Lions, and eventually that pressure of the Mocs finally got through, and that's what allowed them to get the first goal in this game.
Yeah, and St. Leo blocking a lot of shots in the defensive zone and playing really structured. Yeah, I've talked about that with Florida Southern, and yeah, St. Leo blocking a lot of shots. I mean, there were 2 or 3 blocked shots there in that last offensive zone possession. So they just need to keep that up, to stay in this game.
Yeah, and the Mocs did a good job getting Dunlap moving side to side and not really understanding where the shot was coming from, and that's what allowed Izzo to put that one in the back of the net. As St. Leo had the puck momentarily, but Cole Dubois gets it out to Caden Williams. Williams with the shot, saved by Dunlap. Back around the corner, comes out to Ethan Dubois, who fires a shot, and that one goes off of his brother, Cole. Now Catazone up in the play. He shoots off of Dunlap, who makes that save. Pescatore skates back into the zone. He's pressured by Williams on the forecheck. Williams kicks it out in front, and that bounces off of Dunlap. As Bradley Peterlin was looking for a shot there.
A couple of good opportunities there from Florida Southern. Caden Williams, a couple of chances, and creating that last chance there on the forecheck and getting that puck in front.
And Caden is looking for a goal. He had a number of shots yesterday and just wasn't able to find the back of the net. As Catazone shoots, saved by Dunlap. He gets his rebound, and he scores. Catazone puts it in the back of the net, and that's the hustle you like to see from the Mocs. Gets his own rebound and is able to flip it over Dunlap and into the back of the net.
Yeah, they always say go to the net and good things will happen. Catazone causes a turnover in the neutral zone, and he just takes it up. Nice shot on goal, creates the rebound, and he just follows that puck to the net, and he chips that one over Dunlap.
Yeah, and that's his 3rd goal of the season. One of the new faces on this Mocs roster, so good to see some of the new guys getting on the scoreboard this week. Catazone tries to fire that one up the boards. Sealed off by Pecorella. Cabral finally gets it out for the Mocs. Turned over in the neutral zone as Green skates it up. And he takes a big hit from Catazone. And a shot onto Cribbs, and a good save there by Cribbs.
What a booming hit from Catazone. Gets the goal. Now he's laying the body. And Green taking a hard hit, and credit to him. He got right back up, and he's back into the play.
And we've talked about it all year, physical and penalty. That was physical without getting into the box, and that's what you like to see if you're the Mocs.
Yeah, and you don't want your opponent skating through the middle like that and just taking the body there, and now you're the Mocs.
And a rush for Vecchione. Shoots! Dunlap with the save, and he'll get the cover. Good job by the defense for St. Leo, allowing Dunlap to get square to the shooter and make that save.
Yeah, and Vecchione creating that opportunity from a block shot from the point. That's what they say as the wingers. You got to get up to your point, get in the shot lanes, and he did just that.
So some good pressure by the Mocs. Already 2 goals in this one. 6 minutes, 36 seconds left to go here in the first period as they win that face-off. Sent around the boards. Still battling down low is Burkhart. He keeps it in the zone. It's in his skates, and a little physicality there. And Burkhart throwing a punch, and we're gonna see some fists thrown. It's Burkhart pulled off of the play there. Ref's arms up. We'll see what the penalties are gonna be. But Burkhart is headed to the box.
Yeah, Pecorella and Burkhart going at it.
Looks like that was...
Actually, sorry, that was Fraschillo.
So they're both headed to the box. Was wondering if we were going to see an early 2 players thrown out of the game, but they're both going to head to the box, so we'll see what we end up with here penalty-wise.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. There were punches thrown, and as we all know, there's no fighting in this league. So at least I think it's good on the officials just giving these two guys a rough. You know, this game hasn't been too chippy from the get-go. So I think just giving them a rough and moving on from it's probably for the best.
As that face-off won by the Mocs, we're playing, still looks like we're playing 5-on-5 as Preston Miller fires a shot in. That one sent the length of the ice, but no icing. So it looks like those are just going to be coincidental roughing penalties like Noah mentioned. As Mocs are moving it up. And a big hit there by Pecorella on Miller.
Yeah, Miller trying to do a toe drag through the middle of the ice, and good on St. Leo for taking the body, not watching the puck and making some contact.
And Mocs sent that one down, and Dunlap played it. Ref's arm was up for icing, but that was negated. So now Cambria flipped it up the boards to Salvadori. He makes a move, gets around Mullen. Mocs get it back out wide. Gillum back at the point. Quick shot. That was blocked. And spring forward is Will Marshall. Shoots, and that one just goes wide. Tried to make a move, and little collision there as two Mocs run into each other. Ethan Dubois flips that one into the zone. Mocs will reset. Izzo on the forecheck. That one sent the length of the ice, and we're going to get a whistle for icing as Cambria wasn't able to find a receiving partner for that pass.
Yeah, Marshall kind of threw his head up there. He was looking to intercept that pass, but yeah, Mullen springs Marshall for a breakaway, and Marshall's not too happy that he missed on that breakaway, so he takes out Mullen, but no, I'm just kidding. It was a good look from Marshall to spring forward and create that breakaway, and almost with the kind of like the putback move from Marshall.
As Marshall was trying to set up Wyden, who was in a dangerous position, and Wyden just not able to get his stick on that one, as now Luke King skates it back behind the net, gets it out to Gillum at the point. Gillum a shot, and that one's blocked by Izzo. Izzo tried to flip it up to Wyden. Wyden has it. He shoots, and Dunlap looks like he gets a little bit of it and makes a save. Izzo now with possession tries to flip it to Wyden, just a little off. Catazone fires, blocked by a Lion. Cambria rings it around the boards, trying to get it out. Marshall pressured along the boards. St. Leo able to get it out, but back in the zone is Wyden. Wyden finds Izzo. Izzo backhand, and he scores! Izzo's second goal of the game with another assist from Colton Wyden.
Yeah, and that all started with that stretch pass from Ethan Dubois. He finds Wyden, and Wyden takes some contact from the St. Leo Lion, and he's somehow able to fend that off and get that puck to Izzo because both defenders were coming at him, and Izzo was all alone in front, and he makes no mistake on the backhand.
And you can tell Colton Wyden's been hitting the weight room this year. That was a strong move, and able to take two defenders with him and just find Izzo on the back door like you mentioned. So good lead here in the first period for the Mocs. So that one's sent in. Greg Peterlin fires that one around. Pescatore skating it up, and he's got some speed. And he gets checked by Greg Peterlin, and he's down on the ice. So we're going to get a whistle as he's holding that shoulder.
Yeah, he's holding his arm. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, it's more up towards the shoulder.
So, yeah, he's still down. So wait to see if he gets back up as the St. Leo trainer comes on. And that was a big hit and a big loss for St. Leo if he's not able to continue playing in this game.
Yeah, Peterlin stepping up on him, but he also took a bit of a shot at him after he had fallen down. I'm not sure if that's what injured him. Yeah, it's looking like that might be a collarbone. Yeah, he can't really lift that right arm. obviously we hope that he's okay and able to continue in this one.
As he'll skate over to the bench in his own power. But yeah, obviously a big loss for St. Leo, and hoping for the best for Pescatore. So no penalties on the play, just an unfortunate injury there as he's still hunched over on the bench. So we'll keep you updated on that as Mocs win this face-off. Mullen gets it up to Dubois, who kicks it cross ice to Williams. Williams sends it up to Greg Peterlin. St. Leo able to chip it down for a second, but Mullen's back for the Mocs. Kicks it over to Cole Dubois. Another cross ice pass to Williams. Some good passing by the Mocs. Williams flips it to Peterlin, back door, and just not able to get a stick on that. Puck's still in the St. Leo zone. Mullins does a good job. And a shot by the Mocs. That one goes wide as Dunlap got on that one. It comes out to the neutral zone. Mullins back for it. He'll send it around to Peterlin. Peterlin to Cabral. Cabral with a shot. That one goes wide just behind Dunlap. Howitt brings it around the boards. Trying to get out with St. Leo, but Mullen, a shot, and he scores! A redirection by Tommy Cabral off of that Mullen slap shot from the blue line.
Yeah, that little misdirection just fools Dunlap, and Cabral, he's got one here tonight. And Florida Southern just pouring it on now, 4-0 here in the first on 12 shots.
And what a weekend we have to talk about for Andrew Mullen. Got his first goal in yesterday's game as a Mock, and then today getting an assist.
Yeah, in that last shift, he's looked really well skating. You got to be really mobile as a defenseman. That's something that I like to watch, when we're watching the NHL. Guys like Cale Makar who are really mobile, and he's been moving really well and creating plays.
Just done a great job keeping that puck in the zone and setting up those opportunities. As St. Leo has it in their zone, Cambria fires it across to Luke King. Has it on his backhand and sent up for Powers. Powers skates in, and he crashes into Cribbs, and we're going to get a whistle there. It's Canada's zone, and Powers, looks like they might have collided there at the end of the play too.
Yeah, that's a tough play because, Powers going over to Cribbs he's apologizing. That was extremely incidental. He's just trying to cut to the net, and Cribbs out challenging that, and Catazone looked like he had a few words for Powers, but there was no harmful intention there. Just a unfortunate collision.
Yeah, and that's just a hockey play. You're driving to the net, and Cribbs came out like you mentioned, and Powers just collided, and that's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah, and those are tough situations too. You don't mean to do that, but it's just what happens out on the ice when you're in the speed of the game.
As Cribbs gets a covered off of what was a interesting bouncing puck, caught a few bodies, and ultimately looked like one of those fluky goals that could end up in the back of the net if you miscatch the bounce. So good job by Cribbs covering that one. Shot by Gillum again, and Cribbs getting the save.
Yeah, that was a heavy shot there from Gillum. I'm sure he was wishing he had a couple of his teammates going to the net to just create a little bit of confusion in front of Jason Cribbs. That's kind of what you want. They're getting a lot of shots from the point. They just need to get them through and have traffic in front.
As another shot by Gillum, but that one goes off of a body and bounces behind the net. And now some pressure. Marshall skating it up. He has Wyden with him. Tries to get a pass across, but a good job there by Gillum. Getting a stick in the lane there, and that one's going to go down the length of the ice, and we're going to get a whistle for icing.
Yeah, Wyden created that 2-on-1 opportunity. He almost got that back. Marshall trying to thread that under the triangle of Hunter Gillum, and credit to him, he was in the passing lane, and he was following that puck, and really nice defensive play.
as Mox went in for a second, but St. Leo able to come out with it. Luke King skates it up, dumps it in, and a good job keeping that puck wide as King falls into the boards right there. Now Marshall up the other way, 2-on-2, has Wyden with him. Marshall slowing it down, looking for a pass. Passes it into the slot, and Dunlap does a good job just sticking that one out wide. Back for Marshall. Marshall a shot. Looks like that went off the stick of Cambria and out wide for Izzo. And now Izzo back to Marshall. Marshall a shot. Maybe Dunlap got a piece of that one, and it went wide. Ethan Dubois sent it back in for a moment, but St. Leo able to send it down. Just not enough on it for icing. Good job there by St. Leo getting that one down the ice without icing the puck. A turnover. Izzo able to get back on the back check. And now he passes it up to Marshall the other way. Has Wyden. Marshall loses it for a second. Gets it out to Wyden. And Wyden just sends that one wide of the net. Sent up by St. Leo, but Mullen back for the puck. He's pressured by Salvadori. Good job by Mullen to get it up, and he sends it down. And that's going to do it for the first period. So strong first period for the Mocs. 4 goals on the board. 2 by Izzo, 1 by Catazone, and 1 by Cabral. So a strong first period. Noah, what did you like from both sides in that period, and what does St. Leo have to do to get into it in the second period?
Well, when it comes to Florida Southern, weren't getting the bounces in right around the first half of this first period, but then the goals started coming. They were creating offense in the St. Leo zone, and they were just all over the puck. And I think they need to try and look for those extra passes now. They've got that lead, and now if you're St. Leo, they're creating chances for themselves. I mentioned they were getting shot from the point, but also I mentioned at the start of the game, creating chances off of the Mocs' mistakes. And we saw it in that last shift, Ethan Dubois trying to rush the puck out of the zone, and St. Leo almost took it away from him. Those are the chances that they want to capitalize on. So it'll be an interesting next couple of periods here.
Yeah, forecheck of St. Leo has done good in this one and created some opportunities. But we'll step away while Zamboni gets us some fresh ice, and we'll be back with the second period here on the Southern Hockey Network. And welcome back to the second period here on the Southern Hockey Network. Mocs up 4-0. And Noah, something to mention, doesn't look like Augie Pescatore is back on the ice. An unfortunate injury in that first period.
Yeah, and it looked not great. I mean, he couldn't really lift his right arm, and yeah, my suspicion is that's a collarbone injury, and yeah, just really unfortunate. You know, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, even, you know, if you're a Florida Southern fan, just don't want to see anybody with any injuries out on the ice.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, unfortunate, so wishing him the best as we're underway here in the second period. St. Leo had the puck for a moment, tried to spring green, but good job by the Mocs not allowing that pass. That one's sent up the boards by Cambria. Cribbs' arms up for icing, and that's going to be an icing as Mullen gets back for that one.
Yeah, and with Pescatore being out, that further shortens St. Leo's already short bench. So that'll be a factor here. We'll see how long it goes before we start seeing them running out of gas. I mean, these long games with this short of a bench, it's never fun.
As Mocs win that one for a second, Marshall tried to push it forward to himself, but Mocs still keeping it in the zone. Mullen collapses along the sideboard and whistle blown dead for a hand pass. That one's going to come outside of the St. Leo zone. And that's a big loss for St. Leo. Pescatore, a big part of their offense. Third star of the month for College Hockey South in the ACDC division. As St. Leo flips it cross ice, Mullen gets there. He'll skate it into the zone. He drops it back for Wyden. Wyden skates in. Now Marshall back with it. Good defense by St. Leo, and we're going to get a whistle. Not quite sure. Looks like the goal came off of the moorings. Got a little loose, so the refs are going to fix that one, and we'll get a face-off to the right of Dunlap.
Yeah, we mentioned it in the first period. Andrew Mullen, you're creating that opportunity, just moving his feet down the left wall, and found Wyden in the middle, but he's kind of unable to keep the handle on that puck. But like I said, Mullen skating really well tonight. It's someone that we've noticed a lot up here in the booth.
As St. Leo wins that one, Izzo. Little check there by King and the Catazone into the ref. So King getting 2 hits if you count the ref, but Izzo has it now. Strong presence. He passes out in front, bounces off of Howitt, and St. Leo able to come up the other way with it. And a hit there by Peterlin. He gets tied up with King, and they'll give each other a shove. Passed up, St. Leo able to keep it in the zone as that was Howitt. And Izzo flips it up. He gets it to Marshall. 3-on-2 for the Mocs. Marshall back to Izzo just off of his stick and out of the reach, and Dunlap will play that one out to the corner. St. Leo trying to flip it up. Izzo along the boards. St. Leo still trying to get it out. Izzo comes away with the puck. Keeps it on sides. Izzo drops it back. But St. Leo able to get a stick on that one. Comes out to the line for Peterlin. Peterlin skating in. He shoots. Saved by Dunlap. Peterlin back out to the point for Wyden. Wyden kicks it down low for Marshall, who tried to redirect it. Dunlap able to get over and stop that one from going in the back of the net. And now Catazone with it. He kicks it across to Greg Peterlin. Peterlin has it knocked off his stick. King skating up the other way. King a shot, and that one goes wide. Salvadori tries to kick it back in front, and he sends that one on Cribbs, and it bounces over the back of the net. And now the Mocs up the other way with Marshall. Marshall makes a move. Backhand pass to Cabral. And it comes out. St. Leo able to get it clear. Now Greg Peterlin skating it up. Pressured there by Powers, and now he comes away with the puck, turnaround shot. Now back out to the point. Oken has it. Oken with a backhand pass to Gabryluk. He fires, bounces off a couple bodies. Doesn't make it through. St. Leo able to send it up. It's Powers. It's Peterlin bounces it through, and Salvadori giving him a shove as he's headed off to the bench. Mocs battling for it in St. Leo's zone, doing a good job on the forecheck. Ethan Dubois keeps it in. He fires. That one goes wide. And St. Leo able to get a clear for a second and get some fresh legs out. Now Sutton up to Cabral. Cabral shoots. Dunlap gets a pat on that one. Kept in by Ethan Dubois. Oken able to keep it in for a second, but St. Leo gets a clear. Sutton fires that one in, and Dunlap keeps that one going. Howitt now skating it up. He flips it to neutral ice, and Mullen is there. He's pressuring along the boards. Walter fresh off the bench helping out. Still a battle in the neutral zone. Neither team really able to come away with it. And now Preston Miller has the puck. He fires a shot, and that one goes over the net.
Yeah, that was a heavy shot there from Miller.
And a good hit by Mullen on the back end of that play. As St. Leo was trying to get set up in the zone.
Yeah, Florida Southern applying a lot of pressure. St. Leo not really having too much control of the puck. As you can see, an errant pass right there, and that gives Florida Southern possession. But also when St. Leo is getting their opportunities, the Mocs are on the back check, skating really, really hard.
And it's a good team defense all around as Mullen comes up with that puck. He kicks it across D to D. Send up the near side boards. Now St. Leo sets up in their own zone. Pressure by Tillman. And now Gillum has it. He'll skate it up the near side board into the zone. He skates it back behind, tries to find a pass out in front, and no one's there. Now Mullen comes away with the puck. He chips it around Powers, and a good touch by Walter to send Mullins. And now Powers finally comes away with it. And now Catazone, center ice, has the puck, chips it along the boards. Now Powers chasing after it in the zone. Greg Peterlin does a good job angling him off and coming away with the puck. And that one up into the netting. And Van could have gotten a souvenir there, but just pops it back out onto the ice.
I don't see why they couldn't have grabbed it. They got plenty of pucks back behind the scorekeeping table. But also there, Miller, he had Bradley Peterlin right there on the wall. You just got to make that simple pass. I know it's simple to maybe glass it out, but got a little too much on that and ended up taking that one out of play.
As Mocs win that face-off, Gillum had it momentarily for St. Leo, pressured by Bradley Peterlin, and that one bounces off Cole Dubois and into the Lions bench. Something to mention, Burkhart and Frasquillo are still in the box after that little scrap they had earlier.
Yeah, I think they both got 10-minute misconducts. So nothing on the scoreboard with how much time they've got left, but yeah, they'll be sitting for a while. Just because I think they were throwing those punches, I think the officials deemed it worthy of a 10-minute misconduct.
And St. Leo comes away with the puck. A turnover by the Mocs. A shot. Cribbs makes a good save. That was a dangerous turnover for the Mocs.
Yeah, and I talked about it. St. Leo needing to capitalize on those opportunities. Now here's Bradley Peterlin. But yeah, like I said, St. Leo, if they want to stay in this game, they gotta convert on those chances, and that was a really nice save from Jason Cribbs.
Yeah, and Mocs getting that sustained pressure. Bradley Peterlin tried to get a sharp angle shot off the back there of Dunlap, but caught the post. Still battling down low. St. Leo comes away with the puck for a moment. They'll send it around the boards, but Ethan Dubois there. He'll send it back around. Peterlin not able to get enough on that, and so Gillum comes away with the pucks, and he'll chip it up, but Greg Peterlin keeps it in, and St. Leo finally gets a clear. And Williams takes that one away from Kings, and he'll skate it up ice through the neutral zone. He makes a move, tries to get a backhand opportunity, and ran out of room. And now Peterlin runs into Dunlap, and if you run into a goalie, you know you're gonna meet some resistance, but does a good job not reacting.
Yeah, Peterlin going to the net. He actually got a stick on that puck before Dunlap was able to cover it, and the official with kind of an early whistle, but obviously you poke at the goaltender as the defending team. You know, you're not going to like that. So we're going to see what comes out of that, if anything.
But one thing I have to mention is you're seeing a good disciplined effort from the Mocs tonight, not really getting into too much penalty trouble. You know, you had those 2 early ones, but other than that, they've cleaned it up. They haven't reacted as much, and they're doing a good job just staying out of the box.
Yeah, and in previous games we've seen that it's gotten out of hand, and you know, obviously there still are penalties in this game, but I haven't seen it go as out of hand as it has in previous contests.
So we are going to see some penalties after that scuffle as Peterlin heads to the box for the Mocs and Salvadori to the box for St. Leo. And we'll wait to see if we're going to play 5-on-5 here. There's 5 Lions out there and only 4 Mocs, so we're waiting on the
We're seeing some shouting out there from the St. Leo bench. They're trying to figure out who they want on the ice. They do get last change as the home team.
So we are getting some 4-on-4 action. Marshall gets it down low to Izzo, who had it knocked off his stick. Back to Marshall. He shoots. Dunlap thought he had it maybe in his mitt there for a second, but it went wide. Mullen with a shot. Never made it through. Hit a couple bodies in front. St. Leo tried to flip it up to Powers, but comes out to Marshall. Pecorella with it. Luke King tries to flip it to Powers. A little bit of miscommunication there, and Powers able to get it in around Mullen. But Izzo comes back to help out, and he'll kick it to Mullen, who kicks it cross ice to Wyden. Wyden one-on-one. Izzo skating it up. Wyden makes a move. He shoots. And Dunlap able to snag that one. Looked like Wyden had a chance to go 5-hole there, but Dunlap does a good job closing it off.
Yeah, and a really nice move from Wyden. Goes under the stick, and an even better save from Dunlap. And that all came from the stretch pass from Mullen. The quick breakout for the Mocs led to a high danger scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and there's been a number of dangerous opportunities for the Mocs, and there's plenty of space for them for you. The Mocs are a speedy team, especially that top line, so they take advantage of open ice.
Yeah, and I want to see in this 4-on-4 with more ice, Florida Southern to not only move their feet, but also move the puck more. You know, you got to get open for your teammates and move the puck around. You have the open space, and yeah, just having that sense of mind to get open for your teammates.
And St. Leo getting a little bit of pressure. Tried to get a shot off, but a good block by Cabral at the top of the Mocs defensive zone. Powers has it now. He's back behind the net. Tries a sharp angled shot, and Cribbs sees that one. And we're going to get a whistle.
Yeah, it looks like too many. I believe it's going to be on St. Leo.
So yeah, we're going to see potentially what looks like a 4-on-3. As Howard's going to head to the box for St. Leo. So 21 seconds on that initial coincidental penalty on Peterlin. So faceoff will go into the St. Leo zone with the Mocs on a 4-on-3 power play.
Yeah, and I want to mention, too, John Burkhart out of the box now as he was sitting for a while, but he'll be out for this power play. And want to see a lot of puck movement from the Mocs, even more space. And I just want to see them get set up and snap the puck around a little bit. I haven't seen that too much in this game. We saw some really nice plays last night, and they just, need to create some more chances that way, just moving the puck.
And Burkhart now passes it up to Cole Dubois. Dubois cuts back. He passes it in front to Catazone, who just couldn't get a stick on it. Shot by Vecchione. And now we're back to 4-on-4. Well, excuse me. Got a 5-on-4 for a minute 22. Shot by the Mocs. That one goes over wide. Cole Dubois looked like he was trying to set up for a shot and just couldn't get it on a stick, but now he gets a pass from Vecchione. And that one looks like it ended up maybe on the netting. Oh, goal comes off of its moorings again. So no change for St. Leo here. A minute 10 left to go on the power play.
Yeah, it's not like the NHL where they got the pegs that are drilled into the ice. It's just these metal pegs that are the end of it's just stuck into the ice, so the net's going to come off more easily. But this one might have to get new pegs for that net.
Yeah, Wyden tried to kick it across for Burkhart. Now Marshall to Wyden. Wyden tried to get another pass to Marshall. Fan on the initial, which allowed Dunlap to potentially make that a save. Wyden shoots. That one goes over the top. Marshall able to keep it in the zone for the Mocs. Marshall passes it to Burkhart. Burkhart back to Marshall. Marshall across to Wyden, and Wyden just not able to get a shot away. Wyden back to Burkhart. Burkhart shoots. Maybe saved by Dunlap, and it goes wide. Marshall now with it. He skates it in. He'll shoot, and that one hits Izzo right in the midsection.
Yeah, he's laughing about it. That looked like, that hit him where the sun don't shine.
As Marshall and Izzo have a little laugh about that, and that one goes up to Marshall and whistled down for offside.
Yeah, Marshall a little excited there, trying to spring forward.
Izzo, you can see him still hunched over. A little bit of pain there as he heads to the bench. Him and Marshall having a good laugh with Izzo about that one.
Yeah, and I want to go back to that power play too. Obviously, still on the power play, but for the majority of it, the Mocs, like I had mentioned, I wanted to see them snap the puck around, and we saw them do that. Marshall and Wyden were moving the puck well, and we saw Burkhart in that mix there as well as this penalty wraps up.
And it was big getting Burkhart back out there. He does a good job quarterbacking the power play from the blue line for the Mocs. One of the veterans of this team. That one's flipped up the boards by St. Leo. And Mullen gets back, able to come away with it. Continuing his already great game defensively.
Yeah, and they're creating the turnover with his gap. St. Leo looking to turn the other way.
And then a bad turnover there by the Mocs. Some dangerous opportunities by St. Leo, but good job by Jason Cribbs making those saves.
Yeah, and that puck came out into the middle. Not able to get that shot off fully as the Mocs getting sticks on sticks.
And Tillman making some good moves, chipped that into the slot, but unfortunately no other Moc was there. And now Mullen with the puck makes a good move, goes between the legs there. But St. Leo ultimately comes away with it as Gillum is skating up. And he's got some speed. He shoots, and Cribbs able to square that one away and make the save.
Yeah, it looked like Gillum couldn't quite find his spot there. That one goes right into the moccasin logo of Jason Cribbs.
And Cribbs has looked real good in this one. Only facing 8 shots so far, but making a good positional saves on every attempt he's faced so far.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you want to focus on. Obviously, when you're not getting as much action in your own end, it's kind of tough as a goaltender. You talk to any goalie, those nights aren't as fun, but he stayed sharp.
And you have to imagine eventually potentially getting a little cold, so he's done a good job staying warm on the other end of the ice. As Devenuti comes up with it, and he's checked by Sutton, and he blows a tire off of that check. Puck comes out to neutralize us. Frasquillo back out of the box. as well. Green tried to chip it into the zone. And now he's checked by Ethan Dubois. Penalty. Ref's arm goes up.
Yeah, the St. Leo coaching staff were not happy with that hit. They were shouting at the official looking for a call, and it looks like they're going to get one. And by a not so familiar face, Ethan Dubois. Let's see what the call is, and it's going to be a holding.
Yeah, it looks like that was holding is what the ref was showing to the scorekeepers down there. Dubois only in his, looks like, third game of the year.
Yeah, and we've seen him out here a lot tonight, which is good to see. Like we mentioned, this weekend where the Mocs are definitely the stronger team out of these two, and you want to see the younger guys who might have not played as much during the other games this season get out there and get some experience.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this Mocs roster is really deep. A lot of guys shuffling into the rotation as Marshall shoots that one, and it goes off of King and up into the netting.
But yeah, no, that's good to see. As you know, I've seen this program the last several years, go from barely fielding enough guys to make a team to now a deep bench with healthy scratches, and it's just good to see. And looking at that for St. Leo as well, as Marshall gets the goal.
So Marshall tallying his first goal of the game. Good sharp angled shot. Gets that one past Dunlap. And he had a big game last night for the Mocs, but relatively quiet in this one tonight, but gets his first goal of the game wearing number 71.
Yeah, and he finds some space in the middle of the ice, and he just snaps that puck by Dunlap. Looked like just over the pad under the blocker. A well-placed shot from Will Marshall.
And that goal was shorthanded. And now St. Leo has a chance as Powers trying to get a pass. And a good defensive play by the Mocs.
Yeah, that was Mullen.
And now Bradley Peterlin has a chance on the rush, and he shoots and he scores. And a big goal by Bradley Peterlin. 2 goals in under 20 seconds for the Mocs. 2 shorthanded goals to add.
Yeah, and Peterlin using that speed wins that foot race, to that loose puck, and Dunlap went for the poke check, and Peterlin lifts it over the glove.
Yeah, and he did a good job beating Cambria, who was trying to get back on the back check and just was not able to get there. So that pressure by the Mocs looking really good on this penalty kill as they're up 6-0 here in the second period.
Yeah, and we might start seeing some fatigue from St. Leo. I mentioned the short bench. Just a little over 2 lines out on the ice. It's like I said, it's never fun with that short of a bench not having those numbers out there.
And we talked about this before, a relatively new program. This is their first year in ACHA, so credit to them for getting out here and building this program. And the Mocs were there not that long ago.
Yeah, and obviously, for those who might not know at home, I used to play for Florida Southern, and when I started, we had 10, 11, 12 guys on the team, and had guys on the team who were new to hockey, and barely fielding a competitive team, but we were out there playing, and eventually it's grown to this where, like I said, full roster, healthy scratches, all the stuff that you want to see in a well-established program. It's continuing to grow, and I've seen a lot of growth quickly from the St. Leo program in a few years. They've only been around since the 22-23 season, and they're on a very fast upward trajectory.
Yeah, and it's always nice to get to see a program on the ground floor, and maybe in 3 years they're moving up into a division. And it's just exciting to get to see a new program joining ACHA, joining the College Hockey South Division.
Yeah, and like I said, it's always good for more opportunity for these student athletes to get out there and play the game that they love, and it's still at a competitive level.
Yeah, and we mentioned Florida Southern, obviously a bunch of new faces on the roster this year, looking to get some of those young guys who will be the face of the program for the next couple of years, Noah.
Yeah, and a lot of them, too, from the area. We haven't seen that in the last couple of years, but these last 2 years, to be specific, a lot of the players have come from the local areas like the Tampas and the South Floridas, areas like that.
As St. Leo getting a shot, but it goes wide. Another shot on Cribbs, and he'll make a save. So it's just exciting to mention two programs that are really building for the future, and just excited to see some of these young faces.
Yeah, and I like to mention, too, because I love college athletics. St. Leo and Florida Southern in the same conference in varsity sports as well, in the Sunshine State Conference. We've seen a lot of SSC teams with hockey teams. It's fun to see this competition. Maybe we see an SSC hockey division one day.
Yeah, and St. Leo matched up against Florida Southern this week in basketball. I know Carl mentioned it yesterday on the broadcast. And Florida Southern took both of those. As pucks rung around the boards, Burkhart sends it back in. Pasquillo skating around in his own zone. Forechecking by the Mocs. It comes out, and Burkhart trying to get some time as the Mocs had to touch up. Sent back cross ice to Powers. Powers tried to make a move but couldn't get around Cabral, and Cabral kicks it up to Tillman. Tillman now, he shoots, and Dunlap gets a save.
Yeah, it looked like he had Dunlap moving to his right, and that shot went back to his left, and he was able to reach out and snag that with the glove.
And Cabral, one of the veterans of this team, came over and gave Tillman a little tap on the pads, a little hug there on the ice after that shot. So it's nice to see some of these veterans in the group trying to instill confidence in some of these younger athletes.
Yeah, and that's the type of culture you want within your team, that encouraging voice, right? And yeah, bringing everyone up with you, right? Not tearing anybody down.
And you probably know this more than anyone. Hockey's a family, and this team, they're always together on campus, even when there's not game weeks.
Yeah, and it's really nice because, especially with Florida Southern compared to some other programs, they're on the ice a lot, and we see some other programs, they may be on the ice once during the week and some not even at all. And it's a credit to the school. They've poured a lot of support into this hockey program. And yeah, and that's a big reason why the team has grown as much as it has.
Yeah, and there's just a great support system on campus as well. And we're going to get a whistle here. We're going to see a penalty going against St. Leo here. Cross-check is the call, as Cambria is headed to the box. So 2 minutes 42 left to go here in the second period. Mocs will have 2 minutes on the power play, and they've been dangerous pretty much any time they're on the ice. 2 shorthanded goals. And so this will be a good opportunity to get the power play working. And you mentioned it earlier, Noah, set up the passing, snap the puck around as Cribbs comes out to play that one.
Yeah, and we see a couple other faces. See Preston Miller out there for the Mocs on the power play. Haven't seen him with this top unit, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays into it.
As Marshall skates that one up through the neutral zone, he kicks it to the far boards to Burkhart. Burkhart takes a shot, and he finds the back of the net. So just 28 seconds into the power play, and the Mocs find the back of the net, and it's 7-0.
Yeah, Mocs get the extra point. Obviously, conference championship weekend in football. But, yeah, Burkhart, kind of a sharp angle shot, and it looked like he caught Dunlap off guard, not expecting that shot to come, and not sure if he found the far side or if that snuck in under the 5-hole, but yeah, Burkhart catching him by surprise.
Yeah, and yesterday I mentioned you get shots on the outside, your percentage of scoring is relatively low, but Burkhart finds that one perfectly as he tallies his 5th goal of the season.
Yeah, and he can snap that puck with a quick shot anytime in any place.
As Mock's already back pressuring St. Leo, tried to flip it in the zone. And a good job by Burkhart for a second there, but now St. Leo with a chance. A save by Cribbs as it was a 2-on-0 there. And the Mocs will flip it out to neutral ice, and now Marshall racing Cambria. Dunlap's going to come out for it. He fans on it. It's lost in his skates, but ultimately able to find it and get it to Gillum, who flips it out. And now Miller flips it back into St. Leo's zone. Caught a check there by Gillum, but now Izzo has the puck, and Mocs are back in St. Leo's zone. Izzo shoots, and he scores! Izzo completing a hat trick. So he gets that one 5-hole on Dunlap.
Yeah, defense turns into offense. Jason Cribbs with an incredible save on a 2-on-0 breakaway. Kind of just turned into a 1-on-0 breakaway, but sticks out the left pad, and Izzo walking down Main Street and finding that spot 5-hole on Dunlap.
And we've mentioned that the teams looked complete. You see it down with Cribbs in net, and we mentioned he hasn't faced too many shots, but arguably his toughest of the game right there, and he makes a big save, and it turns into offense on the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mocs playing really well in their own zone for the most part, and yeah, it's turning into offense.
There's a shot from the blue line. Cribbs makes a save on that one, and Pearland was trying to skate it up, blew a little bit of a tire there. But Mock's able to get it out, and now Caden Williams skating it up the ice. As he'll shoot. Little weak puck there, but Dunlap's still forced to make a save. He got his own rebound and tried to go sharp angle on that one. Mock's still with the puck. 40 seconds left to go in the period. A wraparound try, and they score. That's Tommy Cabral getting the goal. And that'll be his 2nd of the game. And the Mocs are feeling it offensively here in the 2nd period.
Yeah, they're throwing everything to the net right now, and it's finding its way past Dunlap. Maybe we're starting to see some fatigue out of him. As we saw earlier on the dump in, it looked like he was trying to cover with his glove, and it just bounced out into the corner, and ultimately that ended up in the Cabral wraparound, and that goes in.
As Cribbs making a save there. So he gets a glove on that one. So 28.5 left to go. 5 goals in this period for the Mocs. As everything is going for them. 9 goals on 22 shots in this game. Backhand attempt there by Green. Now the Mocs are moving it up as Cabral has it. He dishes it to Caden Williams. Williams in, he shoots. Looks like he was trying to potentially a shot pass there to Cabral, who he had in the slot. And now he fires a sharp angled shot, trying to get one off the pad of Dunlap. Now a battle on the board, and that will do it for the 2nd period. Mocs up 9-0, and everything went right for the Mocs in that period as they build this lead. And you mentioned it, some exhaustion from St. Leo, so they'll get 15 minutes of rest and hopefully try to get something on the board. You try to get some momentum going into your semester break.
Yeah, and you just got to try and stop the bleeding if you're St. Leo. Obviously, this game is out of hand for them, but just trying to focus and do the right things and just get a little bit better as a result. And Florida Southern, yeah, they're moving their feet, they're moving the puck well, and they're pouring it on.
Yeah, and Catazone and Dunlap met at center ice there, gave a little stick tap on the pads, but we'll step away. We'll come back in 15 minutes with the 3rd period here at the Nest Hockey Academy on the Southern Hockey Network. and welcome back here on the Southern Hockey Network for the third period. And something to mention, Augie Pescatore is on the bench. Not quite sure if we'll see him get a few shifts. Don't know. Maybe they just iced him up in that second period, but he's back out there on the bench for St. Leo as we get underway here. And Sutton moving the puck up for the Mocs. Bradley Peterlin has it. He kicks it in front for Cole Dubois. Back in for Caden Williams. He's back behind the net. He passes it out to the point. Sutton there with it. He shoots. That one bounces off a couple bodies and goes wide of the net. Peterlin had it for a second, and he tried to bounce it down low. Comes out to Mullen at the point, who gets it to Peterlin. That shot's blocked. Peterlin's still with it. He had it knocked off his stick by Frasquillo, and it comes out of the zone off the body of Cole Dubois, who sets it back for Sutton. Sutton to Mullen in neutral ice. Mullen dumps it in as he'll go for a change. St. Leo rings it around the boards, and it comes out to center ice, trying to get a pass. And fed up is Green, as Ethan Fisher's in the net. And Green makes a save, so a goaltending changes. Fisher comes in for the third period. And we saw that last night against St. Leo too, so once again trying to get the young goaltender some reps. That one's sent around the boards by Catazone, and Dunlap comes out to play it. Howitt tried to send it around the boards, but getting there was Tillman. Howitt moves it up to Powers, who kicks it up to Luke King. Greg Peterlin. King with some speed. Tries to get a shot, and Fisher does a good job standing strong. And some pressure early by St. Leo in this one.
Yeah, and they're using their speed to beat the Florida Southern defenders wide. Oh, and that loose puck there, and Fisher able to come up with that one. Coming in cold, he's made a couple of key saves.
Yeah, it looked like that one bounced off of the left side iron and got behind Fisher, but he's able to turn around and just get his glove on that one. So face off to the left of Fisher as Salvadori will skate in. Mocs win that one. They'll get possession as looks like Catazone tries to flip it up the boards, and a pass down to neutral ice as that one went out of the reach of Preston Miller for an icing. So no change for the Mocs as that faceoff will come back to the left of Ethan Fisher. Salvadori and Tillman once again in for the draw. Tillman wins that one back. Fisher had to play it as came quick back on him. He paddled out to the side, and Salvadori got a quick shot, but Fisher up to task and makes a save. Now the Mocs with the puck. Tillman has it. He shoots, and that one goes off the stick of Gillum. Now Cambria has it. He takes a hit from Preston Miller. Tillman tried to ring it around the boards, but Cambria, who was getting up from that hit, comes away with the puck. He'll chip it up the boards. And Salvadori tried to potentially dump it into the mock zone, but Preston Miller able to sew that one away as he chips it into the St. Leo zone. Gillum after it. He comes away with it, and he'll skate it up. Using that speed he talks about, he takes it up the far side boards. He tries to go inside, and a good job there by Greg Peterlin. And they're going to get tangled up. And Gillum holding Peterlin down. And we're going to get a whistle. As puck came out to neutral ice, and someone's stick got stuck there, so that's what got the whistle.
Yeah, they were a bit tangled up there, and yeah, Peterlin not going down without a fight. Gillum doing the same.
And we've mentioned it. Peterlin, a big physical presence in his first year with the Mocs, as Marshall's in for this face-off, and he wins it cleanly. Sent around the boards to Wyden. Wyden kicks it up back to Marshall. Good backhand feed just off the stick of Marshall, and Marshall now down low. He kicks it back to Wyden. Wyden back to Marshall. Marshall tries to get a shot pass to Cabral. And that one was flipped out by St. Leo. Marshall almost able to keep it in, but just out of his reach. And a shot by Salvadori into the glove of Fisher, and Fisher kept that one moving for Marshall.
Yeah, 9-0 game. You just want to keep the play moving. Get out of here.
Shot opportunity there by the Mocs, but Dunlap making a save, and now Marshall with it. A touch pass, a good save by Dunlap. Some good passing there wide into Marshall, but an even better save by Dunlap getting across and getting the pad in the way of that shot.
Yeah, and that was a really creative play from Wyden. And Marshall, he got a lot on that one-timer, but Dunlap just sticking out that right pad, able to get that one.
Now Wyden using that speed and a nifty move, and he scores! Colton Wyden showing off the fancy footwork and fancy stick skills, and he puts that one in the back of the net.
Yeah, it looks like he's going wide, but then he pulls in that puck to toe drag it around the defender, and a beautiful finish, and the Mocs have reached double digits.
So touchdown and a field goal here at the Nest Hockey Academy on a beautiful Saturday night. It's always a beautiful night when there's hockey to be played, right, Noah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mock lost a stick, as that was Vecchione. Now Oaken skating it up. And he takes a big hit there. Slides into the boards. Mullen fires that one. That one goes wide. A couple fans around the boards weren't expecting that and ducked. Mock still within the zone as Cole Dubois plays it, and Oaken able to keep it in. Oaken making a move, tried to skate through two defenders and just knocked off the puck. St. Leo finally gets it clear, and Oaken, his Divanuti, and the Mocs bench is loving that.
Yeah, a little bit of revenge from that hit earlier.
And now Powers skates it in, gets a shot away. Fisher makes a save, and another shot, and Fisher slides into the net, knocking that one off. It's the third time it's come off tonight, so no change for the Mocs.
Yeah, as we get going here, I wanted to bring up a couple of scores from around College Hockey South. UCF traveling to the Clearwater Ice Arena to take on Tampa M3, and Tampa won 5-1. So they dropped a little bit in the ACHA M3 rankings. But, yeah, that's a nice win against UCF. And, yeah, Kennesaw beating Tennessee 5-2. And then Ole Miss beating Austin Peay 10-6. So a high-scoring game there.
Yeah, and the Mocs have some work to do in the second half of the semester if they're going to look to get into a College Hockey South playoff position.
Yeah, really important games for Florida Southern coming into the spring semester. They'll open up MLK weekend with a home-and-home versus Florida Atlantic. They're just ahead of Florida Southern in the rankings, so a couple of wins would really boost them up. And when we're talking about the rankings and how important they are, the College Hockey South Division III standings are based on the national rankings, so it's all important about beating those good teams and not losing to teams that might not be as highly ranked as you.
And that's what we mentioned with those UCF and Lynn wins. Those were big wins for the Mocs, and they've got series against Miami. They'll close it out that USF series. So a lot of that, the end of this semester, is trying to build on the things that you've seen that work well, so that way you can capitalize on those spring semester games and get yourself in playoff position.
Yeah, and the Mocs have been in action these last couple of weeks, so a lot of games, and it's good to get a couple of those wins, and especially now with this being the end of the fall, they're getting some rest.
As that shot goes in on Dunlap, and he'll get a cover. And Mocs currently near the bottom of the standings NCHS when it comes to that playoff positioning. Florida Atlantic, like you mentioned, just above them. And Miami sitting at 11. So a series sweep versus Miami would do a lot in the rankings for the Mocs coming into the spring semester.
Yeah, and that Miami team is very similar to last couple of years. A lot of the same personnel, and Florida Southern's been able to take care of them as they'll get number 11. And that goal was scored by number 11, Preston Miller, it looks like.
So a good job there by the Mocs. It's Preston Miller able to tap that one to the back of the net, and that's his first goal as a Moc. So a lot of firsts this weekend for a lot of these newer faces. Bolin yesterday getting his first goal, and Miller tonight.
Yeah, and both of those guys we've seen out here a lot these last 2 games. And it's good to see. Like I said, the Mocs haven't really been playing a whole lot of their roster in these tighter games, but it's good when you've got control of the game to get everyone out there, roll the lines, and just go out there and play.
And games like these are big confidence boosters for those young guys. I mean, I can't imagine the nerves getting out there, playing your first couple college hockey games against some of the top competition. I mean, USF is a force to be met, and that was their second game of the season.
Yeah, and we all know how that one turned out. We won't mention it anymore.
Yeah, but this team's really shown that they can grow and build as a team over just the course of this 2-3 months.
Yeah, and we're seeing some, and like we mentioned, guys like Andrew Mullen, he's had a really good game tonight, and seen him a lot in the last few games, not just this weekend, but in the UCF weekend, saying his name a lot out on the ice. There's guys like that, and we've talked about Peterlin, especially towards the beginning of the year. He came in right away and made an impact, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a few names. I mean, Ronan Donnelly, Catazone, just to mention a few. A lot of these defensive guys have come in and made real impacts in this program. That was a low shot pass there by Colton Wyden. And it comes back out to him, and he shoots, and that one goes over the net. And Cabral tried to tuck that one in for his third of the game. Burkhart comes away with it, but not able to sneak it around Pecorilla, who's skating with some speed, but he's checked by Ethan Dubois. Pass out in front, and Fisher up to the task, and he makes a big save.
Yeah, he had a couple of St. Leo Lions cutting to the back of the net, so I think he could have assumed that pass was going to come across, so he followed it well and got that good push to his right and able to get the pad on it.
Yeah, good job being aware, and a good job by the Mocs just allowing him to find that and cutting off one of the shooters. And now skating it up. Marshall had Vecchione. Now Marshall backhand to Burkhart. Burkhart a shot, and that one goes up into the netting.
Yeah, he was trying to paint that short side corner, and Dunlap getting the shoulder on it.
We saw him make a really good shot earlier and put it in the back of the net, looking to get a little bit of deja vu for him. As Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is playing in the rink, little bit of ode to Christmas. It's almost that time as Powers skates it up into the Mock zone on the near side boards. He shoots, and that one goes wide. Now Green had it. He tried to flip it in the middle. And Vecchione flips it out to neutral ice. Back forward is Frasquillo. Devanuti has it. He tries to backhand that one in. And we're going to get a whistle. Looks like a penalty was called. High sticking. So we'll see. Remember, the Mocs head to the box. That's Sutton. So a St. Leo power play, 10:22 left to go.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get on the board here. It would be a confidence booster for them if they can get one past Fisher, but he's been very sharp tonight, especially just in this third period coming in.
And St. Leo wins that face-off. And they get a shot, but it goes wide, bounces off of a couple bodies in front. Now King tried to get a pass back to Cambria, but Cole Dubois able to get there, and he kicks it up to Tillman. Now Tillman has it. He fires a shot, and that one goes wide. But Dubois gets it back to Tillman, and that one bounces out in front. It's still loose, and now loose for Dubois. He shoots, and it's blocked. Good job by Frasquillo getting in the shooting lane there.
Yeah, diving like Charlie Conway in D3 Mighty Ducks.
And a pass, tried to catch Salvadori on the backside, but a good job by Greg Peterlin getting back on the back check. That's good team defense by the Mocs once again, as there's a minute left to go on the power play for the St. Leo. Now Cambria skates it up through the neutral zone, trying to create an opportunity. He's angled off the puck. And a stick thrown there by Cambria, and he's going to get a penalty. I mean, frustration there for sure as he grabbed Bradley Peterlin's stick and threw it out to center ice.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's frustration or he's just trying to be funny. I don't know. Everyone can laugh about that. That was pretty funny. But he'll go to the box, and we'll go 4-on-4 for 48 seconds. But, yeah, on that rush, Cambria, he was going into the middle of the Mocs defense, and they just collapsed on him and kept him to the outside. And that's the kind of structure you want to see from Florida Southern, even in these lopsided games, still playing the right way.
Yeah, and sometimes you see teams get ahead by 11 goals and lose the foundation of their defense, but the Mocs haven't done that. It's been drilled this whole game, keep St. Leo to the outside and negate high-danger opportunities. So Mocs win that one. Wyden trying to get it to Tillman, and we're going to get a whistle.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Nugent's calling over the official or something. Not sure why we got the stoppage.
Ref looked like he was checking the net. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at here. Oh, it looks like we were supposed to be playing 4-on-4. Maybe there were 5 Mocs out there.
Oh, yeah, because Marshall came off of the ice. So yeah, good on the coaching staff of the Mocs. You know, not taking advantage of the officials missing that.
As Fisher plays that one for Catazone. Catazone gets it to Tillman. Tillman skates it along the far side boards, and he's hit into the door. And that's a big safety hazard. That door's got to be latched down.
I'm surprised Tillman got up from that. I've gotten hit like that, and that is not fun. I've gotten hurt pretty bad and getting hit into the door and it opening. So
yeah, big safety hazard as St. Leo's now checking that. But Tillman gave a little wave to the bench to let him know that he's okay. And Wyden getting into it now, and we're going to get a penalty as Wyden got into it. Not quite sure what happened, and then Power slashes Burkhart, and Burkhart slashes Power, and then Catazone getting into it with Power. So we're seeing a little bit of that physicality, and Burkhart goes over to Powers, and so we're likely gonna see a couple penalties. Looks like Wyden's gonna be scored it off. So that'll be it for Colton Wyden tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is a fighting. Oh, and Burkhart going after the coach. One of the coaches on the St. Leo bench, or at least he was chatting with him.
Yeah, not quite sure what was said there, but Burkhart, refs calling for Burkhart. So we're going to see Powers is getting taken off the ice as well. So Wyden and Powers both are done for the night.
Yeah, and like I said, not sure if that's just a fighting major, if they're just being given 10-minute misconducts. And there's 8 minutes left, so there's no point in having them sit in the box. So they will just send them off the ice.
As Burkhart heads off as well. So 2 members of the Mocs will head off, and Powers heads off for St. Leo. And a little bit of physicality. We kind of saw bits and pieces of it. You kind of saw it manifesting a little bit, and sometimes it just boils over.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was the smartest thing from Florida Southern to get into. Wyden could have easily just skated away from Powers there, but instead he went back after him, and we'll have as we wait here, Fisher and Dunlap will play catch.
And Fisher's going to score an unofficial goalie goal. That's the second time a Mock this year has scored an unofficial goalie goal.
And Luke King's going off the ice as well.
And Dunlap gets one in the back of the net, as none of these goals count, but it's just fun. Two goalies respecting each other and just passing the puck a little bit.
As we wait here, looking over at the St. Leo bench, you see head coach John Powers kind of leaning over, not sure who he's talking to. He's trying to talk to the official.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he's too happy with the way things went, as Fisher fired that puck just a little wide of the net. But we're still waiting for the refs to talk it over. Looks like they've got 2 score sheets out there right now, so trying to jot down all the penalties.
Yeah, it's not good when you have to pull out a second sheet of paper to fill in the score sheet. But, yeah, I mean, it's tough as the official trying to figure all of this out. There were like 3 or 4 different things happening on that sequence with, Wyden and Powers, and then Burkhart went over to I think it was Salvadori. Or it was Luke King.
There was much.
Yeah, and then Catazone was kind of in there too, but it doesn't look like he's being given anything. So yeah, they're trying to sort that all out. But while we wait too, we mentioned Florida Southern's upcoming schedule. I wanted to mention what St. Leo has coming up as well. Obviously, both these teams are done for the semester after this weekend because it's late in the fall, and St. Leo will be back here on February 6th versus Florida Tech. And so they'll have a home and home. So Friday, February 6th, they'll be here at Nest Hockey Academy, and then they'll travel to the Space Coast Iceplex to take on the Panthers.
And we've seen Florida Tech earlier this year. They're an exciting program. Obviously lost Braden Curry to an injury earlier this year, but still a lot of really great players on that program. So that should be an exciting one for 2 ACDC teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And in St. Leo, getting back to the ACDC competition, hasn't had the most success this year, but a lot of really close games with some of these other ACDC opponents.
Yeah, and they had a good series 2 weekends ago against Georgia Southern where they took 2 games, got a series sweep. So good for that program just to get their legs under them. Like we mentioned it, first year in ACHA. It's a new adjustment, and all the College Hockey South teams are still adjusting to the new level of competition.
Yeah, and just going through their timeline, like I mentioned, their first year, or they started in 2022. So for the 22-23 season, they've actually played in the men's league at Lakeland Ice Arena, kind of ironic. And so they were playing just in that men's league, but they did have an exhibition against North Florida, that was their first intercollegiate game, and they came out with a 9-4 win there. And then the following season, 23-24, they played men's league at the Advent Health Center Ice in Wesley Chapel, not too far from here. And so that was their last year in men's league. They had played a couple of college teams. They played Florida State, played Miami, and another one against UNF. And the year after, 24-25, that was their first year, full college schedule, joined the AAU Federation Division. And yeah, good for them to get a full schedule against all college teams, and now looking into this year to join the ACDC and the ACHA, and they're looking really good. A lot of growth here, and we'll see how it looks with some of their rosters that they get in the future, but very exciting for this program. We just wanted to talk that up because not too long ago Florida Southern was in this position, and we're seeing a lot of growth just from activity on social media, things like the Hockey House, and everyone's talking about it, and for good reason. This is a special level of hockey that we don't see this in many other club sports, right? This level of competition. So it's exciting to see, and I'm excited to see what the growth of this sport is.
Yeah, and club hockey is, like you mentioned it, with the help of Hockey House Pod and some of these other organizations really backing it, has grown a lot over the course of 2 years. I mean, last year Nationals was a big deal with AAU, and now ACHA, some of these College Hockey South teams trying to make their mark. So it's just exciting to see the growth of club hockey and maybe what turns into NCAA level programs someday.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe, not necessarily in the next, 5 years, but maybe 10, 15 years, we're seeing programs pop up in the South. Obviously, you got programs like Georgia that have their own rinks. They've got amazing support from their community. And yeah, it'll be cool. Maybe some of these big schools will have hockey programs sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 10 years we see Georgia, Alabama, some of these bigger SEC schools get NCAA hockey programs.
Yeah, and eventually they'll trickle down to, these, smaller, relatively smaller schools. Obviously, Florida Southern and St. Leo, not quite up there with the Georgias, the Floridas, Alabamas in terms of size, but, you never know. Anything can always grow.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Sunshine State Conference is Florida Southern's NCAA conference, so potentially it would be beautiful to see hockey turn into a D2 sport. We mentioned a lot of these schools in the SSC, Lynn University, St. Leo, Tampa, all have club hockey programs, so potentially it's something we see in the future. As Mocs battling in their zone. Gabryluk has it. He'll flip it out. St. Leo will try to reset. And it's kicked up to Tillman. Pass around the boards was Cambria trying to get it there. And a shot. Hard shot by Marshall. And get a whistle. Looks like that one might have gone up and out of play.
That was a rocket from Marshall. I would have been ducking out of the way. That was a howitzer.
Yeah, and I wish I had the radar gun up here so we could track that, but there's no chips on the puck, so unfortunately we'll never know how fast that puck was going.
Yeah, he stepped into that one for sure.
Seen a couple hardest shot-worthy, competition-worthy shots. Izzo yesterday taking a shot and breaking his stick. Marshall there with a hard slap shot. Now Howitt's moving it up the ice for St. Leo, and a good job by Ethan Dubois. Getting that one out wide and a shot. Fisher able to cover that one, and Oken kicks it up to Walther. Walther dumps it into the St. Leo zone. St. Leo flips it back out to neutral ice. Ethan Dubois plays that one up. Hard shot by Howitt all the way in on Fisher. Fisher gloves that and keeps it moving. He'll slow it down. And that one left for Sutton. Frasquillo tried to play the puck, and Vecchione was chasing after it, but Dunlap able to flip that one out wide. Still battling for it, Walther. Oken got down low there, tried to find Vecchione, but just not able to. St. Leo trying to move it out of their zone. It's Pecorella. Tried to chip it around Catazone and does. He tries to get a sharp angle shot. That one bounces on the outside of the net, and Greg Peterlin shoved down there by Pecorella, and Pecorella's going to head to the box there for that. Excuse me, looks like that was maybe Walter shoved down. No, Walter's headed to the box. Not quite sure what happened there. Cross check was called. So Walter in the box for the Mocs. So a power play for St. Leo. And the winding moments of this third period. 4:35 left to go. So Greg Peterlin wins that one. He kicks it up to Cole Dubois, who chips it out. And now they're on the attack. Cole Dubois has Caden Williams with him. He passes it to Williams, and Williams just not able to get enough on that. Tried a sharp angle shot. Fires it again. And looks like Dunlap made the save.
Yeah, it looks like they can't find the puck. It might have gotten stuck in his pads, but I think they found it.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. Goalie has to shake his leg a little bit, and it's like a coin machine. It just trickles out his pads, and you just never know.
Yeah, Williams trying to find the no-angle shot. We'd seen that a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, and Williams has been impressive the past 2 games. Had a lot of shots yesterday, just not able to find one in the back of the net. It's only a matter of time. Cole Dubois goes in, and he draws a penalty, and we're going to get a whistle. So we're going to get some 4-on-4 action for 1:29 as Cambria heads to the box.
Yeah, Dubois with a nifty move, trying to beat the defenders, and last resort just takes a whack at his stick and able to knock it out of his hand. So prevents a really high danger scoring chance, but ends up taking a penalty. We'll be 4-on-4 here. It looked like they put 2 penalties up on Florida Southern side, but yeah, Gavin, as you mentioned, we're 4-on-4.
Yeah, St. Leo wins that and some extra space. And I'm a big fan of 4-on-4 hockey. I love the extra space on the ice. It allows teams to get really creative if that puck is iced.
Yeah, and as a defenseman, right? You're typically restricted, for the most part, to staying back. But I feel like on 4-on-4, you can kind of move around, to wherever you want, just as long as someone has a guy. Because that's really what the key is. The 4-on-4 is, well, at least on defense, sticking to a man. But when you're on offense, just everyone moving around, getting to all different kinds of spots, trying to confuse the defense.
Well, and what I've really enjoyed about Florida Southern this year is the defensemen getting involved in the offense. They don't just patrol the blue line. They come down low, and they're taking hard shots and getting involved. And one of my favorite plays in hockey is a shot from the blue line that ends up in the back of the net. So I'm excited to see how the offense develops with the defensemen this season.
Yeah, those are always good shots, the ones that have eyes. You don't know where you're shooting it. It just finds its way to the net.
And Fisher making a save there is now Marshall has the puck. And he'll skate it up through the neutral zone. And he leaves it for Williams. Williams a shot, and that one going out wide. Looks like Dunlap might have gotten a piece of that, and it comes out for Greg Peterlin. And Dunlap making a good glove save, ended up in the splits there.
Yeah, really nice save there from Dunlap. And then Williams, too. I know he's wanting one really badly. But a couple of good shots there. Dunlap, not his greatest game, obviously, 30 shots, 11 goals, but he's made a couple of good saves.
Yeah, and that was his best save of the game by far. As Marshall takes a shot, and that one's redirected by Tillman, but just goes wide. Tillman's still on the forecheck, and now Marshall pressuring Howitt. But St. Leo able to get it up, but Marshall able to force a turnover. Marshall passes it to Tillman, and Tillman just not able to get enough on it.
Yeah, I believe Tillman looking for his first as well.
Yeah, he's looking for his first of the season. As Fisher stops that one back behind the net. And now Marshall skating it up along the near side boards. He tries to pass it in front. Dunlap sticks that one away. Marshall back out to the point. Ethan Dubois, he kicks it across to Mullen. Mullen across to Marshall. Marshall down low, kicks it out in front, and Tillman scores. And you called it, Noah. Tillman gets his first goal of the season. Hugs all around.
Yeah, the bench fired up for him. TJ Tillman, this is his second year on this Florida Southern team. Hasn't gotten to play too much, but he's been out there a lot tonight. And good for him getting his first of the year.
And they love him in the locker room. Tilly, they call him. And, they're excited for him. You saw it, the bench erupted when he scored and mentioned it. They're still giving him love, little helmet taps. So he's loved over there in the locker room. And just good on him getting his first goal of the season. As a minute 50 left to go. Now Greg Peterlin, he fires a shot. Dunlap gets that one with the blocker. Pecorella now trying to skate it up, and Greg Peterlin lays a check into him. Mock's able to force a turnover as Cole Dubois has it. He passes it into Bradley Peterlin. He shoots. Dunlap makes a save. And now Green flips it up the boards, trying to get it hit Binkley, and Binkley had to slow it down, and now it's to Howitt. Touched off the skate of Greg Peterlin, and a good back check there by Michael Catazone. That was almost a dangerous opportunity, but Catazone making a great defensive play.
Yeah, the Mocs a little bit nonchalant there in this final 2 minutes, but yeah, Catazone, like you mentioned, fantastic back check. Like I mentioned before, playing the right way, even up big.
Yeah, as Bradley Peterlin took that shot a little pushing and shoving, but yeah, some of these young guys are really fitting into this program. Catazone, one of those defensemen that we mentioned, looked really impressive and arguably saved a goal right there with that amazing back check.
Yeah, he's a really skilled player. He's been super impactful for this Moccasin team this entire season.
As pucks drop there, St. Leo wins that one. Now Ethan Dubois has it. He'll skate it in. .25 left to go here in the third period. Tillman back with it now. He sends it up around the boards, trying to get it out. Howitt keeps it in at the blue line. A shot onto Fisher, and Fisher gloves that one, and he'll cover it up with 13.9 left to go. No, what stood out to you about this Mocs team in this win?
You know, obviously the strong offensive output, but wanted to bring attention to the defensive play tonight. Obviously, we're coming up on the end of this. You know, still not like a horrible game from St. Leo. 16 shots on goal, and as I wait until the clock hits 0, Mocs get a shutout, 12-0 here. But like I said, they played really well in front of both of their goaltenders, in Jason Cribbs and Ethan Fisher tonight, and a great way to end off the semester.
Yeah, shutout combined by Cribbs and Fisher, so a great game. But we'll step away, and we'll be back in a second with an interview with Colton Wyden.
Yeah, we're back on the Southern Hockey Network. We've got sophomore forward Colton Wyden. Colton, thanks for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just looking at the games this weekend, what do you think went well for your team? Obviously, two largely offensive outputs.
Yeah, I think we were firing shots on net. They were going in for us. I mean, I think this was the most goals we've scored in a series this year, between both years I've been here. But I think we were just clicking on all cylinders, passing, shots. We were just scoring. Goals.
And we talked about a lot of the new guys on the roster having impacts right away. Like, what's it been like getting to know a lot of these new guys on the team this year? Because there are a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of freshmen. I think they're mostly D, but yeah, it was awesome. I mean, we're all clicking. We hang out all the time outside of hockey. I mean, it was just right as they got in, we all just started hanging out. Like, we've known each other for years.
Awesome. Now, for those who might not know, you're from Minnesota,
Yeah.
and you came down here to play baseball, and
Yes.
you didn't know that there was a hockey team here.
Mhm.
Talk about how you ended up finding about the hockey team and how you ultimately ended up on the team.
Yeah, so I was recruited for baseball by the coach, and then I got down here, got to know people at like convocation, as they call it, and then they started talking about hockey, and I was like, hockey from Minnesota. I grew up playing it. I love it. I didn't want to stop, and I guess it was just my calling to like come back, play hockey, and have some fun with it. So I started texting the guys, texted the coach. I was like, how do I get on the hockey team, blah, 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 and it was just like, you're on, let's do this and have some fun.
Yeah, awesome. Now, like I just mentioned, you're from Minnesota. Obviously, if any casual hockey fan knows, high school hockey's huge up there, and you played in high school. What's it been like playing for your school down here in Florida compared to Minnesota? Obviously, some pretty big crowds at some of the games for Florida Southern.
Yeah. I mean, obviously nothing can compare to high school hockey in Minnesota, but, I mean, I didn't realize how riled up they get for Florida Southern Mocs hockey, so it was great to see the fans come out and cheer us on. It wasn't much of a difference, but it's awesome. I can't complain.
Awesome. Now, last thing, what's been your favorite memory in your 2 years here as a member of the Mocs hockey team?
Well, that's pretty easy. Last year, beating Tampa at home. Can't beat that. It was awesome. I heard we haven't beat them since the Mocs hockey's been around, so that was awesome, winning at home. Had fun with the boys after, and just can't beat that.
Awesome. Now, Cole, thanks for your time. Appreciate you. Great games this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in here on the Southern Hockey Network as we closed out the season, and we look forward to covering games for you in the spring semester. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a great night.